I'm Birgit O'Connor and welcome to my studio. Today I'd like to show you how to paint the Matilija poppy. Now this is a very unique flower because it grows about 8 feet tall and the flower itself is actually the size of a dish. Some people say it resembles a fried egg. It's native to Southern California and Mexico. What we're going to be doing is working on how to create those paper-like petals and how to simplify the multiple stamens in the center and how to create that really dark background to make the flower pop. I'm going to keep it simple and elegant, so I'm not going to complicate the painting by using too many flowers. What I want you to be is successful. And since I don't have much color in my wash bucket, wherever I apply the water, once it dries, it's going to be invisible without any pigment lines. This means if I have to cross any pencil lines or go up into the center of the flower, it's not going to matter. You might be wondering, why can't you just use the white of the paper, forget about the water, and those extra brush strokes? The reason is because we're creating shading and shape. If we just left it alone, as the white flat paper surface, that's how it's going to appear, flat. So by using the water and adding the shading, we're building the foundation of our flower. In this petal, you'll notice that I'm only using my number 8 round synthetic brush. The reason for this is that I don't want to flood this petal with too much color. And as I work my way around my flower, I want variations in my brush strokes. I won't want them to look uniform. Now once the shadow that I've just worked on is completely dry, I'm going to add another shadow just under the petal above. I've switched back to my number 8 synthetic so I have more control in this tighter area. And you'll notice that the value is slightly darker. This way I have contrast between the two shadows. Now to give the area that I'm working on a slight change in value, I've switched over to my number 14 round sable synthetic blend. I'm going to apply a little more water and more color just along the edge. This next shadow is going to be a little bit more of a challenge. I've turned my paper so I have easier access, and I'm just looking at it as shapes. What's most important here is that you have the easiest access to apply your brushstroke. You want a nice flowing movement. Now starting more towards the inside of the flower, I'm going to paint around some of the stamens. Then as the area gets larger, I'll switch over to my number 16 round synthetic brush. I could also use my sable synthetic blend. It's just a personal preference. I find if I want more control over how the color flows, I'll use my synthetic. But if I want a brush that I can load with color and have softer blending techniques, I'll use my sable synthetic blend. So now I'll just continue to fill in the larger areas around the green leaves and petals of the flower. Remember, as the area I'm working on increases in size, I'll increase the size of my brush too. Using my number 8 synthetic, I'm going to use the previous color layer as my guide. I'm using the same technique as starting on the outside edge, working my way in. Again, if I applied this brush stroke in the opposite direction, I would have the tapered edge on the outside, which wouldn't look right. It would appear too pointy and sharp. I'll be randomly placing the color along the edge, and not on every stamen. I want the viewer to be able to see both colors side by side. And what I'm moving towards is working with more negative space. So what this basically means is that you're making little windows of color to give the impression of shape. And just a little off center, I'm going to create a starburst effect That way all the lines don't look like they're going only in one direction. I'm going to vary the length and width of the brush stroke so it has more variety.